Welcome to the ride.
Rolling through the ruins where the old kings fell. Talking giants, watch as secret scripture tells. Shadows in the desert, prophecy in the wind. But Yeshua is the banner that we ride under again.
Welcome to the Post Rant Aftershow. Alright, refresh your refreshments one last time, folks. Get comfortable. Because as I mentioned in the podcast episode, I want to talk about that little rectangle sitting in your pocket right now. Yeah, that one. The one you probably touched about 400 times before you even sat down to listen to this. I want to ask you a question, and I want you to actually sit with it instead of just laughing it off like we usually do. Is that thing frying your brain? Now, before you roll your eyes at me, folks, I know how that sounds. I know the second you hear radiation and cell phone in the same sentence, some part of your brain flies right into the next Bigfoot and the guy on the corner with the sandwich board. But stay with me a minute, because this is one of those topics where the fringe theory and the documented science actually live a lot closer together than either side usually likes to admit. And that's the kind of whole game here on this show, isn't it? We don't come here to mock the folks who are scared. Well, sometimes we do. But we sure don't come here to swallow the official line whole either. I come here to sit at the table and look at the paper trail and let the chips fall where they fall. Let's look at the facts, folks. So, let's do that. Let's talk about cell phones, brain cancer, mind control, and whether your kid's attention span is being murdered by a 5-inch screen. 4 theories, 4 rabbit holes. One long, slow walk through what's documented and what's just noise. I'll tell you what got me started down this road, honestly. I was standing in line somewhere, doesn't matter where. I think it was at the grocery store, might have been Goodwill. And I watched the fellow sit beside me holding his phone flat against the side of his head for a good 10-15 minutes. Straight. No headset, no speaker, just skull to metal the whole time. And this little thought crossed my mind. The way these things do, is that thing cooking something in there right now? Frying his cranium? And of course I just laughed it off like we always do. But folks, it stuck with me, because I realized I didn't actually know the answer. I had just a feeling, that spider sense. And I'd absorbed that feeling from somewhere, a headline, a comment section, who knows. Probably my days back in the conspiracy theory trenches. One of those half-remembered things your cousin said at a barbecue once. And I'd never gone and checked once whether that feeling had a foundation under it. And I think that's true for most of us. I'm sure we just assume that there's some kind of danger there. Kind of like, don't sit so close to the television screen or your eyes fall out. And I think that's true for most of us. About most of what we're afraid of. We're carrying feelings around that we picked up secondhand. And then we never did really go to check it out for ourselves. You hear conspiracy theories and podcasters and all that. Like me. So that's the exercise tonight, folks. In this here post-rant after show, let's weigh a few of the facts against some of the theories. Let's dismantle them or prove them to be true, whichever the case may be. Theory number 1, the one that started it all. Cell phones cause brain cancer. I'm sure you've heard this one. I've heard of it. Radio frequency radiation, the stuff your phone shoots out to talk to the cell tower. It cuts your brain tissue, all slow-like. Like a rotisserie you didn't know you're on. And over the years, it turns into a tumor. A glioma. Something ugly and aggressive. Growing all quiet-like in the dark while you're doom-scrolling. Feeding it. And look, on the surface, that's not a crazy leap. Said the same thing about microwaves. We know radiation causes cancer. We drilled that into every generation with Chernobyl, Hiroshima, and Every high school science reel about gamma rays. Oh, I mean, look at Dr. Banner, the Incredible Hulk. So why wouldn't the thing glued to your skull for 6, 8, 10 hours a day be doing the same kind of slow damage?
Well, now, pull up a chair, pour yourself another cup of coffee. We've been talking about governments. We've been talking about secrets. We've been talking about old files locked away in dusty boxes. But maybe, just maybe, the biggest prison ain't built out of concrete. Maybe it's built out of lies.